Ever since the emergence of the Nova reroll, I've been on the lookout for a game for you guys, and finally, one crazy player has managed to secure a top 4 on it on NA Challenger. Therefore, for today, we're going to be jumping in game to investigate. From the final board that I noticed on the replay library, it looked like quite a high roll game, but let's see how he managed to arrive there. We are playing in a Belveth encounter, meaning that a lot of the lobby might be already considering leaning towards reroll. We have a Jinx here, and a Jax, so definitely something, a possibility we can consider if we are able to natural some of these Primordian units. Otherwise, we have definitely some point of possibility of playing around a Bastion core and opted to hold on to there over the Ezreal as well. So holding on to the Sakali, definitely, I would say with the bow, with the Kraken Slam at the moment, we're definitely leaning into that. Otherwise, we might be considering something like a Xayah. The Stargazer in this game is Serpent. And now we are going to be coming up on our augment selection. Let's just quickly look back at the board that we have. So we have a Caitlyn pair, we have an Aatrox pair, definitely a possibility of spiking, Kraken Slam or a Void Staff. With our board, it's most likely a Kraken. Then definitely can be considering playing into Xayah as Stargazer is the Serpent. Otherwise, we have a potential for our board to spike. We could utilize this Tiny Dupe for a Tiny Duplicator for a tempo purposes as well. However, with Prize Fighter, I'm not sure if I would entrust it onto the Caitlyn's hands just yet. And the rest of we do not have any natural upgrades just now. Therefore, I would be a little leaning against it. Hustler, Econ augment that does not see that much light of play. Sometimes it won't cost reroll, some players just take it and constantly reroll every single turn, try to tempo with it and then secure their top 4 through that. No scout, no pivot, great for your reroll comps. Should be good for something like this Nova reroll in theory. Or we could just commit to Jinx right away, but we would have the scouting lobby around to see if that's a possibility. Perhaps we can see something better, something like an Econ augment that enables our reroll, or item augment to further push our tempo. Prize Fighter can be taken for those purposes, and if you cash out another component, it's not that bad. Reroll we see Feed the Flames. This is a great early game tempo augment if you have that upgraded frontliner, because the fights are longer, Sunfire is going to be gaining more benefits, and having even more sustain on your board is going to be quite nice. Lewis Singularity, not from this, but otherwise just for fun augment. I recently saw someone in my game and then roll it up in stage 5 with like still being at 300, so their Jin cash out is at 444. Yeah, you get it at stage 6, great. And now we reroll our Hustler as the default econ option, defaulted towards Hustler, which is an interesting choice, but perhaps for reroll purposes could be utilized. Sea Savings account, which in my opinion is just a lot of stronger econ option, especially if you wanted to play something into a Xayah. Just quickly make our econ intervals. We have a slam that could potentially fit our board and just try to save our some of the lives we can. Quickly doing a scout around the lobby. We can see that there's some MF player potentially, something like a Space Groove Samira, saw the aura forming Blitzcrank there as well. So some of the lobby is leaning towards potentially rerolling, while others are looking for fast line options. We natural our Aatrox, and we see that the Serpent, Spargazer, and could also be a possibility of playing into Master Yi. Can always, should never forget that we can also be slamming the Kindred items and hope that our Master Yi items will be working out, as I believe the psionic item is target lock optics. Now the observant viewer might notice that this is a recording of the game. The reason for that being is that the replay file did not exactly work out as it usually should. So what I did is I stayed at the first augment selection, did a quick lobby scout around stage 2 neutrals afterwards, and left it recording for the rest. I do not know what happens throughout this game. I know the final placement, I know actually how the lobby looks, but I do not know how we achieved the path towards it, which is the real part that we are learning from. And it seems that we are opting to go for a lost streak. Carrying Caitlyn one around is going to be quite hard, but we have held on to this Milio as a Fate Weaver. This seems to be the default Fate Weaver you're going to be pairing it with together if you are not playing around that Twisted Fate core. And regarding the comp, currently I am not suggesting you to be trying out this comp, right? If your intention is to climb, if you want to try something new, you want to have some fun, maybe try to win the game, by all means go together. This might be a quite fun game for you. But if your intention is to optimize your potential LP gains, I would perhaps be staying away from it, as all the match histories that I saw, finding one that top 4 was hard. Let's just put it like that. Random boon here is probably more appealing. If we are playing reroll, we might want to roll on level 4 with about 40 or 33 gold. Therefore, this plus XP is going to be great for the blue players that are pushing lobby. But the random boon is just getting 2 gold, and potential high roll upside is going to be quite more worthwhile. And we see that the rest of the lobby is also leaning towards that as just more value, with only a couple of players picking up the Ari right there. Also, maybe holding on to this slam away from Kraken as a potential for the stone plates. We are able to pick up a chain for that reason right here. The simple reason being here that stone plates, you do want a double stone plate. The idea of the comp is that it plays similarly to that LeBlanc and Darius comp from the last set, just a lot weaker variant, obviously, since these are 1-cost units. Aatrox having that possibility to AoE heal up, while Caitlyn is just able to headshot the players down. Caitlyn and TF both are receiving buffs next patch, therefore I would expect the Fateweaver reroll to the Stargazer Fateweaver reroll to rise up again, and Caitlyn can be a quite decent of a carry in that comp. But let's see how she fares here. We also did the swap here, just wanting to guarantee that 5 loss since we are on a full loss, so that to move off the 2-star Caitlyn. Maybe able to still kill 1 unit. Yeah, we killed 1 unit. 1 life preserved going in here in our neutrals at 73 HP, which is about what you would be expecting from a 5 loss. And we definitely have econ quite well, so we should be able to roll here a little bit on level 4 if we definitely want to maximize our 1-cost odds. Squeezing around the lobby, we see some 2 tanky Samiras playing here. Okay, we see that there is a player playing around that Jinx reroll as well, and I believe there was one of the players leaning into the Xayah. So perhaps that was the decision maker for him to, hey, I can actually be going for this. We do get a Rod. I think below the general consensus here of killing the Rods in this comp would just be either making Morello or Rageblade. Rageblade can be utilized both on Caitlyn quite fine, and then we'll swap to Kindred. The thing with Caitlyn is she definitely wants attack speed, but you also want to be pummeling some AD into it. We do get double tier and opted to go for a blue buff here, but this Milio should be decently able to cast with this blue buff. Not exactly sure how you kill tiers otherwise. Hard for me to think right now. And we also opted not to roll on level 4 odds. So what might we be chasing? I mean, level 5 odds was... It's an interesting choice in my opinion, but okay, let's see what we have for our augment selection. Find your center is something that theoretically can work amazingly. Generally, this only works in your solo frontline comps, and if you can't be sure that you're going to be able to prevent wrapping from something like a Master Yi. But this is a solo frontline Aatrox comp, and if you remember for Darius, this was amazing, so this should work quite well. Otherwise, Glass Cannon is a decent of an option just to provide damage jump, since we are investing into attack speed and raw AD items. We generally do not have that much damage jump, so this is quite neat. Pandora's items is also great in these comps where you do want fixated items. We want double bows, we want double stone plates. We also need Titans for our Aatrox to not get stunned, as that is how you generally deal with these solo frontliners. Just stun them and then burst them down. So something great to consider, and it's definitely, if I'm going to be picking up Pandora's, it's always going to be the silver tier one. Rolling for days is great for our econ purposes. Our first augmented savings account though, so we're probably not going to be going there. So perhaps he was instead, well, that explains why we probably didn't roll on level 4. Is simply wanting to get this savings account value immediately. The reason why I might have considered slight rolling there is for the simple purpose of just getting the tempo going, right? Perhaps he's trying to econ and then just go for a big level 4-1 roll down and tempo from there, but our lives are going to be quite low, and if we are playing an unmeta comp, then we want to be generally playing it from high tempo spot where we are fine to be bleeding out, because we know we're not going to be capping as high as some of these other boards. Ban for Thieves is great for your tempo purposes, but he's just going to be ripping Find Your Center. But seeing this as a challenger player, I would expect that their read on simply econing up here and perhaps rolling here at 70 gold for maximum interest is going to be completely fine and worth the downside of the odds on our units. Here the Aura farming Blitzcrank player has managed to tack in Anima, so if they also go for like a 300 cash out, there's something that can be quite cumbersome to deal against. Suggested item Titan's resolve onto this Blitzcrank, though. I'm not sure if that is the suggested item. Some of these aura farmings are extremely troll. But it is what it is. Yeah, so we're going to be slow rolling here at 70 gold. We have managed a 2 streak, which is quite neat, able to upgrade our Bastion. Ideally, we play this into the quirky Rammus duo for the Fate Weavers and Bastions, and then we can flex the last slot for even get the meeples in if we want to. But the plan is to first rush 5 Nova to get the Nova selector onto your Aatrox for the AoE board stun. There had been some ideas originally in PB revolving around potentially utilizing this Aatrox board stun for your Samira, but unfortunately there's 5 Nova plus Samira doesn't fit together too well. We are strong on Necons, but 5 rerolls is more appealing than potentially the 6 XP from before if we wanted to be rerolling. Otherwise, a random boon is also quite appealing. It just might be high, again, a higher potential upside, and we probably want to be aligning ourselves with Thresh, but he seems to be going with the possibility of just having more econ. Allows us to perhaps hopefully stabilize our board a little bit more before our savings account does proc. To get a Master Yi, don't think there's any way we can be slotting him in, so we're going to be rerolling here. Holding on to these MFs, so maybe just slow down the other player who is playing around that MF. I believe there was one player. We see a Jinx tree coming in already, so that's an early Jinx tree in the lobby, so that player is going to be definitely stabilizing there. Get our Titan's resolve sorted out. So yeah, this comp is very heavy on bows, chains, cloaks. You can utilize all of them. This is quite hard to string together, so this is another reason why this comp might not have seen that much success, is just due to how item specific it is. We make this to Akali, but its 2 stars going to be sitting on the bench for ourselves right now, and we do not really have the slots to be slotting it in. It's probably our level 6 slot in. Find that Aatrox 3 here, and we can utilize our tiny duplicator. So all things considered, we have actually managed to quit quite early just by capitalizing on some of the other reroll players in the lobby. This is something you can sometimes do, is by holding off and hoping that the copies are going to get pulled out and you're going to be more efficient in your rolls, but obviously you're sacrificing your tempo at that point. And he had been also considering possibility of chasing that Poppy tree, but now we cash out our savings account, and we are definitely going to be able to start pushing our levels now, probably all the way to level 8, and then look to upgrade our board through there. Still a very interesting approach, and yeah, we probably cap around 4 Bastions, keep this Poppy around, then go into the Shen if you can find it, 4 Bastion that way, 4 Bastion, 5 Nova, 3 Meeples. So you need like a level 8, this is at least. But we get Kindred, then that gives us 5 Nova, then that's level 9, I would guess. Yeah, so definitely this is something you consider with the Nova emblem. This would allow the board to fit on level 8 without too much hassle, but as we can see, we do not have it. We just opted to go for it, and unfortunately we are still losing to this dude Sankey Samira board. The Warren is just too strong with it, and we do not really have the damage items, or our really only damage item, right? We have Rage Blade, which is a pure attack speed item, obviously great for Caitlyn, but she's just simply lacking in AD compartment. Therefore, something like Indiscriminate Killer here is quite appealing for ourselves. Best Friends might be quite tricky with our positioning, especially since we're running already that Find Your Center. Side effects, actually, well, wouldn't be that bad, maybe. Since the Aatrox is healing, but I think we just want items. Mace's Will is great. I feel you have something like an IE slam, or it can make you an IE slam, which it actually can for us right now. So are we going to be valuing it more than Indiscriminate Killer? The Indiscriminate Killer is 2 component value, so I believe that would be a little bit of a stronger of an option, but perhaps he's valuing a flip. What else could we be seeing there? Something like a Heroic, the item grab bag, but he's going to be going with Mace's Will, slamming that IE, and we go push our levels to level 8, able to pick up an early Shen, find that Quirky, and also find a Tom Cash that we're slotting in here. Just for extra resources, since we found a Tom Kench pair, holding on to it might perhaps reduce the AVP of other players in the lobby. Opting to go instead of the IE with even more attack speed through the form of a QSSS. That is also interesting. I was saying that this Caitlyn just seems to be lacking in the AD compartment. Perhaps he simply is evaluating getting as much attack speed onto this Caitlyn just to get her to headshots. This player has played the comp quite a few times, more than what you would expect from someone in Challenger Elo trying to be somewhat serious about a game and not wanting the comp. He's more open to this possibility And he has went through the suffering, and maybe this is what led him to be able to identify how we can potentially top 4 with this comp. Now into the Master Yi, and let's see how he fared. It seems that the attack speed was the actual cause. We were able to actually get through this Master Yi's Edge of Night. The Aatrox was able to hold long enough. The board AoE stun came in, and that was quite great. Now Roll the Bones, both. So Roll the Bones is about an average about 10.5 gold. This is going to be 12 gold, so either we gamble that more players are going to be clicking and wanting to align ourselves with Ahri. This is a great spot if you wanted to see who's already aligned or not. I believe Thresh is just higher potential upside for aligning ourselves, but has the possibility of more HP rolls, which is going to be amazing. Attack speed, since he already seems to be indexing so much on attack speed, it could be quite good. And I believe that we're probably going to be aligning ourselves with Thresh, and we're going to be doing so. Did not see another sword to complete a Deathblade. So, because definitely this is something that we would want our last item to be, but instead we pick up a chain, yeah. Sorting out 3 item tank in this case. So this is because we made this blue buff, you can see this is how sometimes your games might just go astray when you get something like this double tier and you do not invest it into damage or tank item if you are forcing these specific components. We were rolling in stage 4 with 2 item tank, 2 item carry, and this blue buff Milio right here. Remember, item value is multiplicative, therefore you definitely always want to be having the possibility of having 3 item tank, 3 item carry going into your stage 4. Nicely managed to string together a 3 streak here after we made this slam that I was a little controversial about, so definitely nice to read that the Caitlyn actually very, very much loves the attack speed to get to her headshots. Also, we get that 5 Nova Spike right there, and then the Aatrox providing the board stun. Let's see how we fare against another 1-cost player here of the Veigar Meeple printer. We just now whenever we headshot, we hit very hard. You could see that Rammus's HP just simply plummeting immediately, and Rammus being considered one of the most durable tanks. However, that is because a lot of these units in the game are doing lots of small amounts of damage, right? Whereas Caitlyn is just sending one big nuke, and that is how you deal with these Rammuses. This would be a Deathblade plus Shojin. I'm excited about the Shojin since we have blue buff, i.e. QSSS. We have the Kindred can utilize that attack speed. I think that's going to be fine. IE can just be considered as a weaker Deathblade. Going to be making that QSSS onto the Milio right here, since, well, 2 items, and Kindred is not going, well, yeah, Kindred is not going to utilize the blue buff that well, right? So we're going to be keeping it here. It's an upgraded unit, should in theory by gold value be a little bit more a little higher in power, and we do not have challenger either in for this Kindred right now. Against the Xayah board here with that aura forming Blitzcrank, so that is what this player opted to go for. So let's see how we fare against these Domkench. And it seems that we are not going to be doing that great. Once there are beefy front lines, we are having troubles getting through them. The Caitlyn is more single target focused damage, and we just simply do not have long enough of a stall for her to get through, as something like a Xayah is very strong on the frontline department, is able to rip us apart. And now that we have picked up this Tom Kench, we're actually going for a variation more around centered on bruisers. Probably we're looking for some kind of a marauder right there. Getting a little bit more Omnivamp to the Aatrox could be quite good. Against the Primordial reroll here, actually managed to mow it down and send this player 8th. Just quickly wanted to relook at the fight, how it fared, if we could. Because we are locked in the position, we just simply cannot get this Aatrox to be fully into the place. But they are also going with a group hug, and it seems that they went for more offensive of a version. And as long as we have long enough of a stall, which is greatly assisted through this Aatrox board wide style, the Caitlyn with a lot of attack speed is actually able to get through. So maybe this is another reason why you like attack speed on her so much. So in theory, something like a Kraken would be amazing for her, as I was already alluding at the start. But Bill just had to make use of our components. We only got a couple of sword bows, and we had to utilize them how we could. But just rotating all the way to these headshots is quite strong. Now Rammus with a Bramble Vest. Now that's definitely a prominent threat, but again, the AoE stun comes through. We're able to slow down the Rammus and just getting through with these headshots. So I can see the vision of this comp, that the potential is being there. The issue is that if you find against someone else who also has a big nuke to send towards, or can capitalize on you being clumped with these Nunu ults, something like a Xayah is also able to, with their recalls, greatly manage to chip down at your board, you are going to be having troubles. find a third item for our kindred, so we should be in theory having a duo carry online, even though we do not have the full form of the challenger for her to gain more attack speed. And yeah, we see this Xayah. The Sora farming Blitzcrank 3 items, 3 item Biz Xayah. Tahm Kench just simply too much durability after running another 4 cost frontliner. There is just too much meat onto that board for us to get through. And this Aatrox here, even though with a board wide stand, is just simply not complete, not enough. Not sure if Fiora 2 even could do this with the true damage compartment, but now we're down on 1 life, going up against this Master Yi again. Fiora 1, Kindred 1, so that is a great read for ourselves. Able to quick down Fiora immediately, so the true damage is not going to be coming through. Master Yi is going to be having troubles here. The Edge Knock is already procced, and we are cleaning up quite nicely, simply due to the lack of the upgrades onto the other player's part. Made it to that 9 gamble, and we took out their Kindred, so they're sitting on the pairs right now. Speaking of pairs, we are able to pick up a Fiora pair. The Thresh forms as more Firidos, so this is a very resource-heavy game. All things considered, this is a very resource-heavy game. Thresh has given resources to the lobby, Ari has given resources to the lobby, duplicators have been in accelerating the tempo of the lobby, so you can see that you have to be getting to this cap to really be competing against some of the highest boards and achieving it faster than other players. Now we find a Fiora 2. Are we going to be considering a possibility of swapping out items? Find a Rage Blade for the Kindred, getting more damage compartment. I believe that getting this QSSIE onto the Fiora is also a fine shot, but he's going to be seeing the matchup and seeing that perhaps this Fiora can get a AoE down here, so we're going to be going with the Kindred, also getting QSS to protect us from the Nunu ult, which is quite neat, and we're fine to win a fight against a Fast 9 Bard comp. Hey, is this comp actually real? With the Caitlyn buffs coming out next patch, is this comp going to be truly real? She's going to be sending even higher damage nukes. Probably going to get snatched up back in that Twisted Fate reroll, that should be emerging, and some players are already playing around it as a possibility. Now trying to against the Xayah again. Still, they have the Bramble West in front, they have the Blitzcrank right here. And the Tahm Kench is just able to fully tank the load that we are giving him, and yeah, we're going to be taking 8 loss. So the super tanks from the opposite sides are what seem to be the problem truly for this comp. It's an interesting angle to be taking to approach this line. Obviously, we kind of counterintuitive to play reroll from savings account, but the key was that we were still able to pick up all the extra resources, capitalize on the other players being rerolling in the lobby, so we have improved odds and had already our early copies. Send it down to find, even remained at 70 gold, didn't have to send it down to find our last remaining copies. Push levels from there, utilize these extra resources, find Augmenters, nicely synergize our board, and go for a contest here. And we can see the lobby is extremely close. Yeah, we say this comp top 4, but there's a player at 12 HP, 13 and 21, so this is a game is away, couple of rounds away from completing. If we perhaps manage to pick up a fight a little bit earlier on, we might have even aimed for the top 2, top 3, and these are the margins that the top players are playing around. Nonetheless, very fun game, well executed, definitely picked up something new myself here, and I hope that you did too, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one.